Welcome back to the Deep Dive, part of our Beyond Global Waves series. Today we're diving into something that's, well, everywhere right now. Tech headlines, boardrooms, AI agents. You're probably hearing a lot about them, lots of big promises, transforming work, life, everything. So our mission today, cut through that hype. We want to pull out the key facts from the sources we've looked at and give you a clear, non-technical picture of what these agents really are, what they can do, what the risks might be, and what we need to think about as they become more common. Think of this as your shortcut to getting up to speed on this really pivotal moment in AI. Okay, let's unpack this. So this term AI agent, it gets thrown around a lot, but is it just like a fancier chat, or is something else going on here?
That's a great question to start with, and it really hits the nail on the head. It's not just a fancier chatbot. An AI agent, basically, is a software program that can act autonomously.
Autonomously.
Yeah, meaning you give it a high-level goal, and it figures out the steps. It understands, plans, and then executes tasks. It does this by interfacing with, different tools, other AI models, maybe external systems. And what's really interesting is, yes, they're powered by large language models, LLMs, the same tech behind chatbots.
Right.
But they go way beyond just generating text. They actually take action.
Okay, action. So it's not just a chat, it's a doer. That makes sense. Can you give us some examples? Like, what does that action look like in the real world?
Exactly. Doer is a good way to put it. Think of it maybe like a digital intern or an automated project manager for specific things. So instead of asking a chatbot, hey, what are some dinner recipes? You might tell an agent, find the cheapest round-trip flight to Berlin for next week, book it, and then email me the confirmation. The agent doesn't just list the flights. It actually attempts to go through the booking process, use the travel website, maybe handle payment if set up, and send that email. So it plans, it acts, and this is key. It evaluates how it's doing based on your instruction. It can learn as it goes.
Learn. So if it messes up, it tries differently next time.
Potentially, yes. That ability to adjust strategy, to pursue a multi-step goal independently, that's the core difference. Jim Fan from NVIDIA actually splits them into two main types. You've got software agents, they run on your computer, your phone, use apps for email, office stuff, and then embodied agents. These exist in 3D spaces, like games or even robots.
Yeah.
Helping with physical tasks, maybe folding laundry eventually.
Folding laundry. Oh, wow. Okay, so that distinction is clear. But you mentioned the term AI agent has been around. Why the sudden explosion now, this huge interest? And I mean, $8.2 billion in funding in just the last year. That's massive. What's driving this now?
Right, the term isn't new, but the capability is leaping forward. And that leap is directly tied to these recent, really significant advances in the underlying LLMs. We're talking models like GPT-4 from OpenAI, Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini. They're just much better at reasoning and planning.
Okay, what specifically made them better?
Well, there are about 4 key developments driving this. First, the models themselves are just better, faster, and sometimes smaller, more efficient.
Right, efficiency means broader use.
Exactly. Second is something called chain of thought training, COT. It's basically teaching the AI to sort of think step by step before answering. Improves reasoning a lot.
Like showing your work in math class.
Kind of, yeah. It makes them better at complex tasks.
Sure.
Third, increased context windows. Think of this as the AI's short-term memory getting much bigger. They can handle longer conversations, more complex instructions without losing track.
Okay, that's crucial for multi-step tasks.
Definitely. And finally, number 4 is function calling. This is a huge one. It lets the AI models reliably call on external tools and APIs.
APIs? Like connecting to other software.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Connecting to your Gmail, a flight booking website, your calendar, whatever it needs to actually do the task.
Yeah.
Before, it could tell you how. Now it can try to do it.
Wow, okay. So it's not just what the AI knows, but what it can interface with and control in the digital world. That feels like a fundamental shift.
It really is. It means they can make decisions on the fly, adapt their plans. It's not like old rigid automation.
Yeah.
Sam Altman from OpenAI has this quote. He says, "The killer app is a super competent colleague that knows absolutely everything about my whole life, but doesn't feel like an extension. It's about partnership."
A super competent colleague.
Yeah, and they're getting better with images and audio too, not just text. So new ways to interact are coming.
Okay, the tech is clearly advancing fast. So let's talk practicalities. What can these agents actually do for us? Individuals or businesses right now or very soon? What are some real-world uses?
Yeah, the applications are popping up everywhere. In the workplace, for example, journalists are using them, transcribing interviews, summarizing long press conferences, even doing some initial fact-checking.
Saves a lot of time, I bet.
Huge time saver.
Yeah.
Marketers, they're using them for drafting campaign ideas, generating reports, maybe managing ad spending. Small business owners are finding them useful for automating things like bookkeeping, appointment scheduling, maybe basic customer replies.
Okay.
And it's not just talk. A survey found like 99% of developers building AI for businesses are exploring or actually developing agents. People are calling 2025 the year of the agent for exploration and enterprise.
99%. Okay, so businesses are definitely seeing potential. What about at home for individuals?
Oh, yeah. Lots of convenience there, too. People are using them to plan weekly meals based on what they like or what's in the fridge, then ordering the groceries automatically.
That sounds amazing.
Managing family calendars, summarizing textbooks for students, even booking whole holidays, flights, hotels, maybe checking visa stuff, outlining an itinerary, all delegated to an agent.
Like a personal travel agent on call. That's pretty compelling.
Yeah.
What about more specialized fields? You mentioned interfacing with systems. What about cybersecurity? That seems critical.
It's a really fascinating and kind of double-edged area. Research from UC Berkeley showed AI agents are getting remarkably good at finding software bugs, vulnerabilities. There's this agent called XBO, apparently a top bug hunter on HackerOne. It found 17 new bugs, 15 of which were 0 days.
0 days. Those are the really dangerous unknown ones.
Exactly. The ones vendors haven't fixed yet. And tools like Anthropic's Claude code, they've earned real money, tens of thousands in bug bounties for finding and patching vulnerability.
So they can automate finding weaknesses, potentially making software safer, faster. That's huge.
It is. Companies like Google's Project Zero are already using AI for this. But here's the flip side. The same tools that help defenders find flaws, they can also help attackers find and exploit those flaws automatically.
So it could accelerate attacks too.
Precisely. It raises this big question. Will AI agents ultimately help the attackers more than the defenders? That's a real tension point right now. And it's not just tasks. They're using agents for really sophisticated simulations now, too. Stanford researchers built an agent system that simulates human attitudes and behaviors. They fed it interview transcripts.
Real interviews?
Yeah, 2-hour interviews with real people. And the agents replicated how those people answered survey questions later with about 85% accurate.
Whoa, that's almost as consistent as the actual people.
Exactly. So imagine using that to test reactions to public health messages or product launches or even political events. It's a whole new way to understand social dynamics.
It's kind of mind-blowing. But, okay, you've painted this amazing picture, but you also hinted the reality isn't quite, perfect sci-fi yet. What are the limits? What's holding them back right now?
Right, exactly. While 2025 might be the year of exploration, these truly autonomous, super reliable agents, they aren't fully there yet, as they say. What we mostly have now are LLMs with, let's say, basic planning and tool calling abilities.
So complex stuff is still tricky for them. They can't handle everything alone.
Not reliably, no. Simple tasks, they can often pick the right tool, but sophisticated scenarios, ones needing real nuance or common sense beyond the data, that's still tough. They can still hallucinate.
Meaning they just make stuff up.
Confidently make stuff up, yeah. Which could lead to wrong bookings, bad data, you name it. They don't always follow complex instructions perfectly. And even with bigger context windows, they can lose track in really long interactions. Forget the original goal sometimes. Katie Mazuris from Ludus Security, she pointed out that even the best AI bug hunters in one study found only about 2% of vulnerabilities.
Only 2%?
Yeah. So her advice: don't replace your human bug hunters yet. Human expertise is still crucial for complex stuff. And another big point, often glossed over, is cost.
Right. Running these things.
Exactly. They need massive computing power. Running them at scale gets really expensive. Some reports suggest OpenAI might charge like $20,000 a month for certain specialized agents.
$20,000 a month? Okay, that definitely limits who can use them extensively right now.
For sure. It's a big investment.
Which leads us perfectly into the risks. If these agents are acting on their own, accessing our stuff, what are the downsides? What could actually go wrong here?
And there are some really significant concerns we need to talk about. First, security. It's huge.
Yeah.
If an agent needs access to your email, your cloud drive, maybe payment info, passwords to do its job,
it becomes a massive target for hackers.
Exactly. If your agent gets hijacked, the attacker could potentially use its abilities to cause damage way faster and on a bigger scale than a human could. It really ups the stakes for cybersecurity.
Okay, that's scary. What else?
Then there's autonomy gone wrong. Just the agent messing up.
Yeah.
Imagine a poorly trained agent or one that misunderstands instructions. It could spam all your contacts, delete important files, maybe even spend money accidentally.
Yikes.
And because it acts so fast, you might not notice until it's too late. The potential for accidental data leaks or deletion is just higher. Then privacy, obviously.
Right. They need so much data to be useful.
They often need really detailed personal data, your habits, communications, finances. Who owns that data? Who's watching how it's used? Big questions.
And the one everyone talks about. Job displacement.
Yeah, it's a major concern and a legitimate one. Some studies estimate, 80% of U.S. workers might see LLMs affect at least 10% of their tasks. And for nearly 20%, it could disrupt over half their work.
Those are big numbers.
They are. And you see it in surveys. About 23% of workers explicitly fear being replaced. Repetitive tasks are definitely vulnerable. The hope is it frees people up for more creative work, but there's also undeniable potential for job loss. It forces a rethink of skills and support. And finally, there are the broader ethical and societal considerations. Should an agent be making decisions about hiring, grading students, influencing medical advice?
And who's responsible when it makes a mistake?
Exactly. IBM experts put it bluntly, technology doesn't think, it can't be responsible. Ultimately, a human is accountable.
Right.
Which means we need transparency. We need to be able to trace what the agent did and why, especially for important decisions. It feels like this efficiency boost comes with a real risk of new kinds of problems.
It really does. Okay, so faced with all that, the security risks, the potential for errors, the job impacts, the ethical questions, how do we manage this? How do we use these powerful tools responsibly?
Well, the experts are really focusing on two main themes: governance and strategy. First off, human in the loop, or HITL. This is absolutely critical.
Meaning humans stay involved.
Yes. Keeping human oversight and final decision-making power, especially for complex stuff, high-stakes things like legal work, taxes, medical areas where, AI hallucinations can be really dangerous. And interestingly, people seem to want this. Studies show workers prefer having more human control, even as AI gets better. Collaboration, not just automation.
Okay, so keep humans involved. What else?
Second, companies need robust governance framework. This isn't just rules on paper. It's building systems to actually monitor how agents perform, ensuring someone is clearly accountable, and being able to trace every action an agent takes.
Like an audit trail for AI?
Exactly. Testing them safely first, in sandbox environment. Having ways to roll back actions if something goes wrong, building in those safety nets. And third, it's about strategic AI adoption. Don't just jump on the bandwagon. Focus on where agents provide real demonstrable value, where they genuinely enhance what humans can do, not just replace them for the sake of it. Companies can get an edge by using their own data to train agents for their specific workflows, making it a tailored tool, not just an off-the-shelf one.
Right. Smart about where and why you're using. So it's about building trust and control. What does that collaboration actually look? Is there a model for humans and agents?
Yeah, there's a really interesting framework from Stanford called CoGIM. It's designed for dynamic workflows, like, say, a complex merger and acquisition process. Instead of the agent just running off a plan, CoGIM promotes this back and forth, reflection, engagement at each decision point.
So the agent doesn't just do, it asks.
It asks questions, suggests next steps. It might even argue or challenge assumptions to help refine the goals as things change.
That sounds much more like a partnership.
Exactly. It encourages adaptability and makes sure human intentions are baked in throughout, not just at the start. And on a different note, another thing people point to is open source AI model.
How does that fit in?
Well, it could lead to a whole new marketplace for AI agent, more innovation, maybe monetization for creators. Anyone could potentially build a useful agent.
Democratizing in a way.
But it also means more people get access to potential finding agents we talked about. So responsible disclosure of vulnerabilities becomes another double-edged sword.
It really seems like the goal isn't humans serving AI, but AI serving, truly augmenting, making us more. So as we wrap up the deep dive, it's clear AI agents are way more than just chatbots. They're these autonomous programs that really shape how we use technology, how we get things. The promise is right, incredible, efficient, new possibilities, finding software, managing our business, freeing up our. But as we discussed, it's not without serious challenge. Security is paramount. There are risks with autonomy, big questions about jobs, ethics. It feels like the real challenge isn't the tech itself, how we choose it, how we guide it. That means focusing on responsive development, strong governance, and always keeping human oversight, human right at there. So the question for you listening isn't really if these will partners become part of your life, but maybe how you'll choose them. How will you balance that promised productivity, keeping essential human or critical thinking or connection front and center?